Hello and welcome again to another Facebook Live. It's really good to see you. My name's Craig. I'm from mansioningles.com, which is a website for Spanish speakers of English. No, Spanish speakers who want to improve their English. That's what it is. And Ingles Podcast is a podcast website where you can listen to a weekly podcast that will also help you to improve your English. And with me today, one of my most favorite people and a wonderful teacher, Monica. Hi.
Hi, and so I am Monica, as Craig said, and I'm the author of Blog del Inglés. This is the new blog, and Blog para Aprender Inglés. And you can find also lots of resources and courses there, everything for free. So,
and Monica and I have been teaching for a few years, let's say. So we're not new as teachers, which is quite interesting because today we're going to talk about expressions relating to age and teach you some useful expressions that are very common in English when we speak about age. But before we start, have we got anyone watching live? Rafa's here
already
again.
Comments, Gemma, thank you, and Rafa, our most loyal followers.
Good to see you here, Gemma. We missed you last week. Good to see you back again. And hello again to Rafa, who's another regular. And of course, if you're watching on the replay, thank you for spending time with us. So we're going to look at expressions related to age. What's the first one, Monica?
Let me
ladies first. Age before beauty.
Ladies first. Okay. The first one. You like to. This is a joke.
I slipped that one in there, didn't I?
You are a little bit naughty today.
I am.
I am not as young as I used to be. I'm not as young as I used to be. So this is an expression. Oh, I like this expression because you can learn the use of used to be. So, no soy tan joven como antes, okay? Sometimes you can translate used to be como antes. For example, I used to be a doctor and I'm not a doctor anymore because I retired, no? So, in this expression, we can learn that special structure. And in Spanish, we translate it as solía ser, o antes era, no? I'm not as young as I used to be.
And
but
I really noticed this 2 days ago because I was helping my sister to move house. She's changing her house. And I helped her carry lots of boxes and carry lots of furniture. And today my back is really, really hurting me because I'm not as young as I used to be.
Yeah, but I don't like to say this expression because I think...
But it's true.
It is true. But if you say it too often, you are even older than you are, no? So I can say, for example, I'm not as young as I used to be, but you're much older than I am. So, which is not
much
true.
Older?
No, you're younger than I am. Okay.
Am I?
Yes.
I thought I was older than you.
No.
Okay.
You're younger than me.
But I'm not as young as I used to be. Let's say hello to some people who have joined us.
Lots of people here
just now. Erica, hello.
Yeah. Let me see.
Who else is with us?
We have Norma, Montserrat, Claudia, Coque, Katia, Mariana, Mirta, Katy Martinez, Limo, Graciela, y Felipe.
Argentina, Mexico, Costa Rica. People from all over the world. It's wonderful.
María Ángeles, Bernardita, Gabriela, Claudia Valderas, Zaida. Well, more people are joining. So
let's go to the next one. I have a cousin who is a lovely girl. She's 7 years old. She's the daughter of my cousin's son. So she's my second cousin or third cousin. And she just had a birthday 2 weeks ago. So her birthday was only 2 weeks ago. It was very, very recent. So I can say that she's just turned 7 for example. Or
Yeah,
here it's 3. She's just
turn.
turned 3. Her birthday was recently, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. She's just turned 3. So you can use that expression for a recent birthday for any age. Oh, my mother's just turned 80, or my sister's just turned 40. It works with any age. Just
But you can
turned.
also change the tenses. For example, next Friday, she's going to turn 5. She's going. You change it to turn is cumplir. Or you can also say she's going to be 5. No, you can also use the verb to be here. But in many occasions, instead of to be, we say turn, como girar. But in this case, means cumplir. So, when are you going to turn 60 or 70?
I'm going to turn 60 in 3 years' time. I'm going to turn 57 in May.
57 in May. Okay.
I'm going to turn 57 in May.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'm not as young as I used to be, Monica.
I'm not a young. Yeah, that was the first expressions we had for the newcomers. If you haven't heard us, we talked about as I'm not as young. He made me say that. He put the first sentence. He prepared everything, and he said, "You do the first one." And he said, "I'm not as young as I used to be." And Rafa said, "I'm not as young." Rafa said, "As I used to be. My ankle is broken." Yeah, but this can happen to a young person too.
You've broken your ankle? How did you do that, Rafa? What happened? Did you fall over?
Yeah.
Playing sports? I'm guessing
I
you're not.
I didn't think it was true. I think he just said it as a joke. I hope it's not true.
I hope it's not true, Rafa.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's going to say something about it. Now,
Yeah, he'll tell us.
Number 3. So we have to turn is cumplir. I'm not as young as I used to be. And the third one is underage. Okay, underage. This is an interesting expression because to be underage is ser menor de edad. And so usually in Europe, as far as I know, you become of age when you turn 18, right? Is that true for the UK?
Yes, it used to be 21 many years ago when you get the key to the door. You got the key to the front door when you were 21. Then they reduced it. They lowered it to 18.
18. So now everywhere in Europe is 18, but in some, perhaps in other parts of the world, is older or younger. I don't know. But when you are underage, it means that you're under 18. And it means that you cannot do many things. Like, for example, drive a car. Okay? So you have to become of age, ser mayor de edad, to drive a car. So, or you cannot, for example, drink alcohol. Another limitation, no? Or it's forbidden for people under. In Spain, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's 16. I'm not sure about that.
Drinking age
is because they put a specific. Sometimes they put like exceptions to the 18 rule. For example, in the United States, you can drive when you're 16. You don't need to wait until you're 18 because the card is very necessary. So you can start driving at the age of 16.
So what's the drinking age in Spain? How old do you need to be or have to be to drink?
Somebody can tell us, because usually when you go around, you see very young people drinking, and I suppose it's not allowed. But
maybe they're drinking underage. Underage drinking is quite popular.
It's they say an infraction of the law.
Yes.
Yeah, and if the police sees you, they can say something to you. Well, not really take you to jail. Depends on what you do. But
more people have joined us. Hello to Christine. Welcome back. And Fabienne from Israel. Shalom uvracha. And Felipe says he's not as old as he used to be. He's going bald. He's losing his hair. Well, from the photograph, you cannot tell, Felipe. You look like you have a full head of hair. I'm going bald. That's why I'm growing my hair long, because when I cut my hair very short, you can see a bald spot in the middle. So I'm not as young as I used to be, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So underage, menor de edad. That's the term in Spanish.
Yes, and Rafa says you can't buy alcoholic
So
beverage if
it's
you're
18.
underage. But what is the age,
No, the
Rafa?
age
How
is
old?
18.
It's
No,
18.
he
Okay.
means 18 because in Spain, you become of age at 18. ¿No? To become of age is cumplir la mayoría de edad. To become of age. Okay, there's another expression.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on.
How do you describe people's ages? Well, obviously you can say I'm 39, I'm 24, I'm nearly 70, but you can also use these expressions. If you are 31, 32, 33 years old, you can say I'm in my early 30s or early 40s, early 50s, etc. You can be in your mid 30s or 40s. If you're 34, 35, 36, those are your mid 30s. Or you can be in your late 30s, late 40s, etc. I'm in my late 50s. This is also useful if you don't want to say your exact age or you're describing someone and you don't know their exact age. Or if you don't remember how old you are, then you say, oh, I'm in my late 50s. I can't remember if I'm 58 or 57. So, yeah.
Well, I think you usually remember.
I don't remember.
No, you don't remember.
No,
But it's
I
just
don't
to take a
remember.
look at your passport.
It's only a number. It's only a number. It's not important.
It depends.
So
So
in your late, early, or late, or mid
early
30s,
30s,
40s.
I was thinking in Spanish we say, es que in Spanish we use the expression treinta y tantos, ¿no? En los treinta y tantos, but I'm not thinking that like you have a division between early and treinta y pocos. Ah, I know, yes, tiene treinta y pocos. Early. So we refer to the quantity. Early 30s tiene treinta y pocos. Y cuando you say late, treinta y muchos. So many, treinta y muchos. So that's
We've got a question from Diego, who is a very general English question, but we can answer it for him. Hi, Diego. Diego says, "Hi, Craig and Monica. I have a question. Is it possible to learn English without grammar?"
yes. I would say yes. No doubt about it. You can learn English speaking. Another thing, the grammar is to correct the mistakes, but you can learn English without. In fact, children learn to speak their language without grammar. They don't study grammar until they're much older. I don't know your opinion, Craig. Maybe you're a grammarian and you.
I'm not a grammarian, but I think you can communicate, Diego, without grammar. You can say, me give food, give food. You can use verbs, you can use nouns to say what you want and have a very, very basic conversation. But you need grammar are kind of like the nuts and bolts of the language. They help you to put the meaning words, the verbs and the nouns together. So at some point on your language learning journey, you're going to need grammar to communicate effectively. But as Monica said, you can communicate with just very, very basic words.
No, but what I think he means, maybe I'm wrong, he means without studying grammar. Because you can learn by repetition. When you learn the language as a kid, you just imitate what you hear, and you can say a perfect sentence because you repeat it, and you don't know if it is the subject, the verb, the noun. You have no idea. What he means is like they do here in Spain. I don't know. I'm just guessing. At school, that they tell you, okay, this is the subject, this is the verb, this is what he means, without knowing which is the subject, which is the verb. Of course, you need grammar because every sentence we say has a grammar, is a grammar structure, no? But I don't need to know if it is an adverb or if it is the pronoun or if it is it's just by repetition, no? I
What
think.
about tenses, though? What about speaking
Well,
about
and
past time,
like,
future time?
yeah, but when you say, but it's like kids, you don't need to say to them that is past tense. They understand it in the context. For example,
Because
yes,
it's their first language, their
no,
mother
also in a
tongue.
second language, yeah. Also in a second language, because I've seen it with my son.
Okay.
This is, I've seen it how he did it. It's like a lot of listening, repetition, and then they teach him grammar later. And they say, okay, this is the noun, this is the. But he was able to just by listening. This is my theory. Yeah? Okay.
One saying to speak English, I think you need at least a basic thing
Yeah,
of the English grammar. Every sentence or word is
it's
a
grammar.
piece of grammar.
Yes, I
Maybe
agree.
that's an interesting subject to talk about another week,
Yeah.
because it's quite a deep area, and we don't really have time today to talk about it. But it's a very interesting question. I don't think Monica and I exactly agree, so it would be
No.
interesting to look at
I
it
don't
again next week
Well,
and talk about it a bit more in detail. Let's go
okay,
to the next one.
mental age. Well, the mental age is something I think is a new concept, at least as I see it. No, because sometimes people, but this is very easy to understand because it's exactly the same in Spanish. It's very easy because some people, I think it refers to maturity. No, the mental age. Some people have a mental age that is higher than their real age,
Or
and
lower.
or lower. Sometimes it's a lower age, so it's immature.
I was
So
very
it's
immature, yeah.
immature. Usually, we would say that it's immature. So if somebody has a lower mental age than the real age, then it's immature. So usually this is for. I think you worry about this when you're a teenager. No, adolescents have these problems of mental age because older people is. I think there's a point where everybody more or less is the same. The mental age is the same as the real age, no, or the biological age. Let's say biological.
May's asking exactly what it is. Do we know in Spanish what a translation would be?
Edad mental.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the same.
So you have your real age, which could
Yeah,
be 18, but if you're very immature, you
yeah,
have a mental age of 6
yeah. Well, no, not so much.
or
Or
12.
12. It could be. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be. Some kids have this problem. It's just that when you mature, and that can happen in different moments in your life. Okay, to mature, madurar. Mental age is the same in Spanish. Edad mental. Okay, as far as I know.
Yeah,
Next
that
one.
sounds good. So let's talk about coronavirus and the pandemic, because that's put years on me. I feel older because I'm not doing as much exercise as I did before, because I'm not going out and socializing and meeting people, and I'm feeling older because time's standing still, but it's moving. I don't know how to explain it, but the expression to put years on you or on someone means that an experience or something you pass through in life makes you feel or look older. Let's
Yes.
imagine, for example, a person has a very happy marriage and all of a suddenly it goes terribly wrong and the person gets divorced and they have to find another place to live. The whole experience is very stressful. It's a disaster, and it can put years on you. A
It's like
disease can put years on you too.
It's like putting on weight, or similar to the same
Can
expression.
put kilos on you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's like yes, because they say it's not the years, is the weight.
Yeah.
Sometimes is if you don't do exercise and you put years on yourself, no, and you have to be careful with that.
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
So it can be physical, and it can be emotional. You can look older. It's put years on him. He looks much older the disease, or let's say cancer, unfortunately puts years on people. They look older, they look worse, or it can be a feeling. You just feel older. So you can say this experience has put years on me.
Yeah, it's something. Unfortunately, this happens quite often as you grow older. Suddenly, you see somebody very young and very active, and then maybe he or she's got a disease, and said, "Oh, it has put out like 10 years." So
Maria Angeles says, yeah, the death of a sibling, that's very tough. That's very hard. Or the death of a spouse. A spouse can be a husband or a wife. The word spouse can be male or female. So the death of a spouse, the death of a loved one can put years on you.
Years on you. Perhaps people don't know what a sibling. Some people know what a sibling is. It's a sister or brother. That's the generic name for both of them, though it's a bit formal. So usually people say it's brother. They say brothers and sisters more than siblings. No? It's more common to say brothers and sisters.
Got to say hello to Juan, who's watching. He's a nurse, and we know we love nurses and everything they're doing for us at the moment. They're having a very hard time. I'm sure the coronavirus in your job, Juan, is putting years on you. But he's asking how often we do these live videos. Every Wednesday, about the same time, 8 o'clock. Every Wednesday. Monica is on every 2 weeks. And next week, I'll be doing another one with Lynn. So every week on a Wednesday at the same time.
Okay.
Norma says she's younger than she is. She looks very young in the picture.
I look younger than I am. Yeah.
You look underage in the picture, Norma.
Yeah. A baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one. I'm not over the hill yet.
That's true.
Is that yours or mine? I forgot.
That's yours.
Okay. To be over the hill is when you're almost dead. One foot in the grave.
One foot in the grave.
Yeah, you can think about it. No, you can think about it, because you think of a hill. A hill is una colina. So if you pass that hill, is the moment when you're old. No. So, for example, Craig says, I say to Craig, okay, hey Craig, do you think you'll be able to go fishing with us this weekend?
Why not? I'm not over the hill. I can fish. Yeah. It's easy.
Yes. Well, it doesn't require too much effort. I should have made put another
trekking or walking. Yeah.
Trekking or something that requires, or biking, or let's go biking. And then I said, I don't know if Craig is going to want that. And you say, of course, I can go. I'm not over the hill yet. I'm not over the hill. I don't know the equivalent in Spanish, how you say that. Maybe somebody knows. Maybe Rafa knows.
No estoy demasiado viejo.
No estoy demasiado viejo. Yeah, that's it.
I put the that 1 foot in the grave in the chat. If anyone, that's a nice expression. Yeah, if you're almost dead, you're 1 foot in the grave. Jose Ignacio remembers that I support Arsenal. That's my team from London. And he said, Arsenal's poor performance put years on me. Yes, it does. Yeah. When they lose and they play badly, Jose Ignacio, it puts years on me. It certainly does.
Is it, I suppose it's clear now, to be over the hill.
And speaking of hills and colinas, if you are as old as the hills, then you're very, very old. You're a very, very old person, because hills are usually very old. So, he's as old as the hills. You can also say he's no spring chicken, because a spring chicken is young, full of life, full of energy. So if you're no spring chicken, you're as old as the hills. You're an old person.
Yeah, it is funny, the expression, because hills, I never thought about that, but it's the same for mountains and rocks. They're very old because they have always been on the planet. So it's a bit strange, to say that, but it's true. Hills. Now, this is mine. In your prime. So, Craig, you're still in your prime. So if you're retired now, it's going to be wonderful. It's wonderful to retire at 50 because you're still in your prime and you can do many things, no? Many people want to do this. I think most people want to do this, to retire when they're not that old. And so 50, for example, is a good idea, or 60, because you're still in your prime. To be in your prime means that you still feel young enough to do the things that you do, and it's like the best moment, no? The best moment of your life. Prime is como estar.
The prime of your life.
Yeah, the prime of your life is the best moment. The moments where you can do everything. So it's the limit is the sky, and
the sky is the limit.
Yeah, in your prime, if you're in your prime, you can do, the sky is the limit. And
I was curious.
If you're not in your prime, well, then it means that you're old, no?
I was curious about this expression, so I Googled what's the age when you're in your prime, and I couldn't find like an age reference, but I did find that for men, when men are in their sexual prime, that's in their late teens, when they're most sexually active. However, for women, late teens.
You mean before 20?
That's when men are in their sexual prime, and for women, it's their mid-30s. Now, we had those expressions before: early teens, early 30s, mid-30s, mid-40s. So for women, their sexual prime is their mid-30s, which is quite a bit later. So a woman's sexual prime arrives much later than a man's. That was interesting.
Boom, I didn't know that. I have no idea.
Christine's got a nice expression: to be at death's door. That's definitely over the hill, 1 foot in the grave.
Yeah, it's similar to 1 foot in the grave. Yeah, to be at death's door.
To be at death's door.
To be knocking there, just really waiting for the for the moment. So I like this expression very much, because I think it's very easy to use. You have to use it with the verb to be. So I think Craig is in his prime. He's just exaggerating about getting overweight and not doing the things. No, but when COVID is over, you're going to be in your prime.
Thank you. You're very kind. You're very kind, Monica.
I think you just need to get out a little bit. You haven't been traveling around like before and all those things. So that's what you need. When the things get better, you're going to be in your prime, I'm sure. It's just a matter of waiting.
I would love to believe you. I really want to believe you, but I can't believe you because I wasn't born yesterday.
That's a good expression.
I'm not a fool. I'm not an idiot. So if you're quite clever and you're not easily tricked, engañado, you can say I wasn't born yesterday. So if you try to sell me something that's overpriced, or you try to cheat me, I can say, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not stupid. So it really means I'm not stupid. I'm not a fool. I wasn't born yesterday.
And this expression is the same in Spanish also. It just means that you're old enough to know all the tricks, to know the things that are not okay. So because people animals and human beings, when they're young, they can be quite naive, no? So and you can be fooled when you're young, but when you're old enough, like we are, because we have an experience, no? Experience is another degree. So I wasn't born yesterday, no nací ayer. ¿Que te crees que nací ayer? There's an expression in Spanish.
Yeah, it's the same in Spanish.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I like this one.
I'm having my senior moment. Okay, this is for me. If you have a senior moment, well, think about it. It's very easy to think when you have a senior moment. It's when you forget something. For example, tell me, Craig, I just forgot that expression. Am I having a senior moment? Because I forgot that expression. Is the sky is the limit, or the limit is the sky? Oh, this is a senior moment.
Yeah, you
So
forget
a
something.
moment when you forget something, and it's similar to what happens to all older people, that they start forgetting things, no? And that's why it's called a senior moment.
There's
So,
another expression that's not so polite. Shall I tell you? Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll write it in the chat. It's to have a brain fart. Have you
oh,
heard that expression? Fart
yeah,
is un
yeah,
pedo, un
yeah,
pedo. So
very,
suddenly you forget somebody's name, you
yeah,
forget
very, yeah,
a fact or a piece of information.
very good.
You can
Yeah,
say I had a senior moment, or you can say I
very
had a
good.
brain fart, which is
Well,
a lot more informal. So be careful when you use that. Don't use that when you're having a job interview. It's not very polite.
well, senior moment sounds very polite. I'm
Senior
having a
moment, yes, but brain fart, not so much.
brain fart, not brain fart is negative. But I don't like it because everything related to old people is negative in our civilization. And then I don't think everything is negative. There are many good things.
Okay, tell me one good thing about getting old.
You get wiser.
Do you though? Do you really?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you
Mate,
get wiser.
I think you get more cynical. You're not so naive, as you said earlier. You're
Yeah,
not so naive, but do you really get wiser? I still make lots of mistakes.
I
Maybe
think
that's me though. Maybe that I'm
no,
just
but I think everybody gets wiser. There's one advantage,
and then
and
okay,
also
give me one more.
one more. I think I am much more peaceful, like not so anxious. Because when you're young, you're thinking, oh, it's like you have this to-do list. You have to do this. I have to finish the degree, get a job, get married, or have children, or some kind of. There's always something that you have to do. But when you get to an age where for me, I'm very at peace with myself. Like saying, okay, I did these things already, so I'm not anxious about
It's
anything in
true.
the
And
future.
you don't care as much what people
You
think
don't
of you.
care.
Your image, your ego is not so strong.
Yeah,
You
and
don't care. Okay, you want to think that, think that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. For me,
It's
in my case,
it's
I
like
think it's
Christine
better.
says, you don't care about other people's
People's
opinions. Yeah,
opinion.
it's
That's
true.
another advantage. So there's not only disadvantages, there are some advantages.
There are some. I
Yeah.
agree. There are some.
Okay, what is the next one?
Oh,
Oh,
yes. A ripe old age. Now you might recognize that word ripe, that adjective for describing fruit. If you eat a piece of fruit that's ripe, it's ready to eat. A ripe old age is a good old age, like a good age. For example, my mum, she died when she was 82. So she lived to a ripe old age. That's a good age to have. If you pass away, that phrasal verb to pass away is an informal way to say die. If you pass away when you're a lot younger, then you don't live to a ripe old age. You die young, which is always very sad. If you die in your 30s or your 40s, it's a big shame because you didn't get to live to a ripe old age. So that's a very common collocation, to live to a ripe old age.
ripe it means maduro for people maduro. So una edad madura. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this one. This is mine. You're not a
Yes.
spring chicken, Craig. Huh? A spring chicken.
Nope.
Certainly, we are not a spring chicken. Spring chicken is pollitos de primavera, and it means that you're not as young anymore. Yeah, like we said it before, as young as we used to be. You're not young. That's basically the idea. He's no spring chicken, no. So you're not spring chicken when you are not as young. So you're old. And I think it's because in spring, many, not only chicken, other animals are born in spring. Lambs, for example, calves,
Mm-hmm.
in the countryside. And many times these expressions come from the countryside. So when this is this little chicken like this, and they don't know anything, and these are very cute, and these are young, very young. So you're not a puppy anymore. puppy, also from the dogs, or so this is the idea. It's very graphic description because you can see the chicken, and as you see the chicken, you know that they're very young.
Yeah, and it's often used in the negative, isn't it? I'm
Yeah,
no
like
spring chicken.
I just used it with Craig. I said, "Oh, Craig, you're not spring chicken. Why are you saying that you're going to go dancing this weekend?
Go to a nightclub.
A nightclub."
Good, yeah. I can't dance anymore until 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning. I can't
Yeah.
stay out so late. I'm no spring chicken. Or I could say I'm not getting any younger, which is obvious. It's an obvious expression if you think about it, because none of us is getting any younger. We're all slowly getting older. But the expression, you could use this when you are maybe a little too old to do something. Like I'm not getting any younger. I can't go out dancing until 6 o'clock in the morning. I can't run a marathon anymore because I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. I can't do it anymore. That's a very common collocation as well.
So that Rafa said polluelo for spring chicken. Yeah, correct. Polluelo. And Lorena.
Oh, I didn't know that word.
Yeah,
Okay.
polluelo is the spring chicken. And Lorena put she just put emojis
Yep.
of spring chicken.
3 spring chickens.
Okay.
I'm not sure what question you're asking, mate. It means that he or she is dead. Do you mean?
Oh, I suppose in the one foot in the grave.
Or she lived to a ripe old age, maybe.
Okay, young at
Not
heart.
Not sure what you're asking. That's yours, is it? Young at heart.
Young at heart. This is something that I wish to be. Always wish to be young at heart. So, Craig is also. He's not no spring chicken, but he is young at heart.
Thank you.
Because he keeps laughing and making jokes and having energy to do this Facebook Live.
Only for 1 hour a week. You don't see me the rest of the days. You only see me 1 hour a week, Monica.
Yeah, but don't be so negative, because you have to keep young at heart. I think it's important for people. We have to tell people, keep young at heart, even if you're very old, because this is positive. You want to be with people that are cheerful, that want to live, they want to do things. No, so this is one thing that is important to keep. I don't know if in Spanish we say this. Es simplemente ser joven de corazón. O sea, inside. That's very important to always keep young. No, I'm in the mid-40s. No, not in the middle. In mid-40s.
Yeah, that's Emilce. First of all, hello, Emilce. Emilce has been following us on Facebook for many, many years. I know you live in Argentina, Emilce, so I'm really happy to see you here. Yeah, you'd say my mid-40s. I'm in my mid-40s. That will be the expression. So late 40s, early 40s, mid-40s. Hello, Emilce.
And then Jose Ignacio is saying something, the hangover is not longer than, no.
No, it gets worse when you're no spring chicken. It gets a lot worse when you're over the hill. The hangovers get very bad.
May is the expression, she lived to a ripe old age. She lived, no.
Well, she's dead if it's lived, because lived is past simple. So if she lived, then she is no longer alive. But you can use it for people who are living. You can say, my mum is at a ripe old age, or she's living to a ripe old age. She's in her 90s, in her mid-90s, for example. That's a ripe old age. So it isn't always used when somebody is dead, although it's common when you look at someone's age. For example, a friend says to you, oh, my grandfather died. He was 98. You can say, oh, I'm really, really sorry. That's very sad. But he lived to a ripe old age. It's a nice thing to say, because yes, he died. That's very sad, but he had a long life. So that's a good thing.
Oh, it's funny. Ivan is saying, Ivan and Kati have the right translation for this. Thank you, Ivan and Kati, because it's, no, that's
Oh,
not
sorry.
before. It says, joven de espíritu. In Spanish, we say joven de espíritu.
Young at heart.
Yeah, young at heart.
Oh,
That is
nice.
exactly.
Joven de espíritu.
Yeah, which
You
is the
see, I
same.
learn expressions as well here. I love it.
No, but because it's the same idea, no? The heart is something like you have inside, and the spirit too. So it's the same idea, to be young at heart.
Ivan has a question. How do you say la fuente de la juventud?
The fountain of youth is the
fountain
same.
of youth. Yeah,
Yeah.
direct translation.
Yeah, it's very easy. The fountain of youth. Okay.
Is it me now? Act your age. Yeah. Imagine we said before someone who's immature, someone who is, what was the expression we had for an immature person with, not of the same, like a mental age that's younger.
Mental age. We talked about mental age, but it was
mental
not
age. So a person who's 18 but has a mental age of 15. So they're acting younger than their years. You could say to that person, hey, grow up, act your age, be mature. You're an 18-year-old, you're a 20-year-old, act your age, which means have the same behavior as your age reflects. And then similar, but not the same, to feel your age is when you're starting to get on in years and you're starting to feel your bones and you make a noise every time you get up out of the chair. You always make a noise. Ugh! When you sit down, so you make those noises as you're getting older because you're starting to feel your age. Do you feel your age, Monica, or do you feel younger than your age?
I feel young at heart.
Good.
Yes,
Good.
I feel young at heart because it's well. Sometimes you start noticing like it's like getting out of the car, and it's a little bit difficult sometimes. But I think it has a lot to do with the weight. It's not the age as much as the weight. When I lose weight, I'm much more flexible and I have less pain and everything. It's funny.
Emilce said she made a mistake. She's in her mid-80s, not middle, mid, M-I-D. Wow, you're in your mid-80s. I thought when you said mid-40s, Emilce, I thought that sounded young. I thought maybe I was going to guess mid-50s or maybe early 60s, but mid-80s, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Another question, source of youth for Fuente de la Juventud. No, Fuente can be source in some contexts, but not in this context.
No, this is a collocation. Collocation is the fountain of youth. It's only fountain, como fuente, not source. Fuente physically, because it's a graphic idea, no? What?
Emilce says, "Oh, I wish I were 40. 40 I wish I was 40 as well, Emilce. I really do.
I wish I was 25." No, the fountain. I was going to say about the fountain of youth. The fountain of youth is a legend, and it is really. They thought in the old times, ancient times, Middle Ages, that there was a place somewhere in the world where there was a fountain really, where there was water coming, that you could go there, drink it, and always be young. That's why it's called fountain and not source, because it's really is a fountain. And they never discovered that fountain. They have never found the fountain, because if they did, it would be worth millions. So the only thing is the plastic surgeons, or the Botox, or all kinds of treatments, and this is the fountain of youth now, no? This is the only fountain of youth, what you can do with medical help, but not the drink what. I wish I could drink some water and just, I'm much younger.
Coque says, I feel, I think Coque meant to say, I feel my age, but it's funny because if
Yeah,
you if you
so
feel your aves, you're no spring chicken. Does that joke
no.
work in Spanish? You feel your aves, you're no spring chicken.
Nothing to
She's
do.
in her late.
No, I think it's a self-correction that she wrote in
Yeah,
the
I know. I'm trying.
considered
I'm trying to make a very bad joke.
joke that I'm
And
in
it's
my
my
late
late
50s.
50s with no S, so just late
Uh,
50s. So again,
late,
late
late
50s, early 50s, or mid 50s is
50s.
the correct expression. Oh
Um,
yeah, she said yeah 80s. Yeah, I was making a silly joke. Sorry,
silly jokes. Yeah.
with Avis.
So Robinson Leiva says, "Can you share the address, please?" It's because of the Fountain of Youth. But
Oh
yes,
yeah, yeah. Share it with me as well. Yeah, the
yeah,
Fountain of Youth doesn't
it
exist.
doesn't exist. Okay,
Okay,
so
what's the next one?
the next one is
Yours.
you're as young as you feel, but this is very easy to understand because it's self-explanatory. You're as young as you feel, and this is what I have been trying to convey all this time. You know that you have to feel young to be young. So if you don't if you start saying all the time I'm old and you start acting old, you're even older. That's why it's dangerous, because I've noticed, I observe people, some people can be old and they behave young in certain things, like they continue to do sports, not immature, just to do sport, to eat healthy and all that,
Hmm.
and they look younger, and you can see that the personality looks younger. I really believe on that. So you are as young as you feel. This is so true, because if I say that I'm young at heart, well, then I feel young still. I feel able to do the same things I used to do when I was 30 or 20. Not exactly, but most of the things I can read, I can work with my computer, I can go for a walk, I can enjoy a trip, I can cook, I can, I don't know, walk a dog. All these things make me feel young because I still do them. And so, for me, this is a lesson to learn. You're as young as you feel. Eres tan joven como te sientes, no? So you must feel young to
Yeah.
be young and to keep. This is the real fountain of youth. As first is the brain. No? There's a
I
genetic component, and there are many other things that come into place. But the first thing is to keep feeling young, because otherwise,
mhm. Yeah,
you,
I agree. I do the same things I did when I was 20, but I do them a lot slower. Marisol says she feels young spirit.
well, this
Yeah,
is
was
young
it
at heart.
young
Yeah.
at heart? Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
young at heart.
We don't say spirit, we say at heart. And well, you are very young, 43 years old is
So
young.
you're in your early 40s.
Yeah, early 40s. But the problem is that I don't know if it happened to you, Craig, but I remember when I turned 40, I was thinking I was very old
Me too.
compared to people that were in their 20s, because I was
Yeah.
working with people that were in their late 20s or early 30s. And I thought, oh my God, I'm 40. How old? I'm very old. And then you turn 50 and you think, oh, 40 was very young compared
40
to,
was good. Yeah.
yeah, 40 was good. So if anybody is in their 40, don't think that you're old, because
No.
this doesn't happen until you're 80 at least. Okay, so
You're
I
as
try.
old you're as old as you feel.
That's one. So
But when you get into your 50s and 60s and 70s, you can use the expression, I'm getting on in years, or I'm getting on. So that's a way of saying you're getting older, but maybe you don't want to give your age. You say, yeah, I feel like I'm getting on. I'm getting on in years. I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm getting on in years. So to get on is to maybe feel the years passing. I'm getting on. Now, what's going through the change in life?
going through the
What does
change
that
in life.
mean? What change is that?
I think it's getting old. So going through the change in life is just getting old.
I
Oh,
think it's for the menopause, for when women have, they call it the change, when they reach a particular age and their body changes. It happened to
yeah,
my
I
sister when
didn't
she
know
was
that.
in her in her late 40s. She started to get hot flushes,
Yeah,
and the
going through
body,
the change in life.
the change, it's
I
called the change,
didn't
the
know this.
physical change. Yeah, the menopause. It's
And,
another way to say the menopause, to
well,
go
this is
through
a
the
very
change.
polite way of saying menopause
Yeah,
because I never heard this.
I'm
And
going through the
also I
change.
think it's because I think in general, I don't know about other women, but I don't think that women in general, like to talk in public too much about menopause because
No,
this is something very intimate,
yes,
and if you don't know the people, why are you going to speak about that? No, it's something that it's a little bit taboo. So that's why I probably don't know any of these expressions because I don't think it's a common topic for conversation.
no, it's not, and that's probably why they, instead of saying menopause, they use the expression
Yeah.
the change. Oh, it's the change, because you avoid speaking about what it actually
Mm.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no.
And
Oh, shit.
speaking of
Yeah.
menopause,
Well, this a difficult, awkward age. This is very easy to see. That's teenagers. If you have children, you have to be careful when they grow older and they become teenagers because adolescents are can be very. It's a very difficult period of time in your life because you're not a baby anymore, you're not a child anymore,
your
but
body's changing. Yeah.
neither neither you're a child nor an adult.
Did your son go through a period of an awkward age when it was
Yes,
difficult because his body was changing, his
yes.
hormones were very active?
The body is changing, and then also there's a problem of mental age. You go to school and maybe you start getting rebellious because you don't like the situation, the things you have to do. You don't want to talk to your parents anymore. All these bad feelings, and it's normal because the body is changing and you're becoming an adult. And I
Mhm.
think I was also a bad teenager.
Yeah, me too.
Were you
I was
uh,
I was quite rebellious,
yeah,
and it took me a long time to mature, so I was very immature. I didn't act my age until I was in my mid-20s. So I was very rebellious up until my mid-20s, and then I started to settle down, become more focused, more mature, take on more responsibility. But in my late teens and early 20s, it was a very difficult age for me. Yeah, I didn't know what to do, what
the,
I wanted. Yeah,
the to settle down. Yeah, exactly. This more or less this happens when in the early 20s you settle down. But before that age, and also it's a bad age actually, to be
mm,
a teenager when you're more or less, it starts when you're 12, 13,
yeah.
pre-adolescence. And then all these years, 13 to 20, it's really bad because you suffer, because you don't understand the world, you don't understand your body. So
Christine said, adolescents are as stubborn as a mule. That's true.
adolescence,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was very stubborn. I was very stubborn. Tortudo in Spanish.
And also, you say that this is awkward age for menopause, and I just explained that as also it's not the same as the teenagers; it's a completely different situation, but it's also changes,
Yeah.
and also for men, men also change at this age. They have another, not the menopause, but
They have
there's
a midlife crisis. Oh,
mid.
the
Oh,
midlife
that's another
crisis.
expression, midlife crisis, but.
Let me put that in the chat as well. A
Midlife
midlife.
crisis was it's funny because in Spanish is crisis de los 40. But I think that now,
it can be any age.
I don't think it's the Rafa says andropause.
What's that? What's that, Rafa?
Menopause
Andropause.
for men.
For men.
Yeah, andropause.
Yeah.
So the midlife crisis is in Spanish is funny because we say crisis de los 40, like the 40s was a moment where this happens because you're seeing, you start perceiving that you're getting old, no? And that the time is running up, no?
And you look for the meaning of life.
Yes.
Buy a motorbike or buy a sports car if you're a man.
For men, it's true. It's true that when they get into the midlife crisis, or they get a lover, that's another solution. And Ivan says, in Spain or in Spanish, many men turn gay at 41.
Do they? Is that a fact?
I think it's a joke. So they usually make a mountain out of a molehill. Christine says, yeah, that's for teenagers, where we're talking about teenagers. But talking about, what were we talking about?
And Elsa says, I have to say, I'm in my mid-80s. Yeah, mid-80s.
Yeah, so mid-80s. So I have a senior moment, Craig.
You had a senior moment. You forgot what you were.
I forgot.
I think we've explained a difficult age, an awkward age. Yeah, we've menopause, teenagers. I think we've done that. We have two more expressions for you before we go out the door. The expression to age well, or the opposite, to age badly. I was looking at a webpage that spoke about celebrities that have aged well, which you could also say in English, the years have been kind to them, which is saying that they look good for their age. If they are 50 or 55, but they look younger, you can say they have aged well, or they look good for their age. And of course, the opposite is they've aged badly. Of course, if you're going to have a life with hard living, drink, drugs, living on the edge, then you are going to probably age badly. But the ones I found that were interesting, Pierce Brosnan, I think he's aged really well. Tom Cruise, I think, has aged really well.
Tom Cruise, but if you have a lot of money, it's also easy to age well. Sorry.
Not necessarily. Wait. People who have aged badly. Val Kilmer, who was in Top Gun with Tom Cruise.
Oh, this I don't know.
He's aged really badly. He's got very kind of fat in the face.
Is because this is other factors. They go into drugs. They drink too much. They don't sleep. They
have money, but they haven't aged well. Yeah, they haven't used.
No, but what I mean is, if you have the case of Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise, I'm sure he did lots of things to look younger, because he's still doing these movies, action films that are. Climbing up a building and things like that.
And he does it himself. He does his own stunts. Yeah.
No, I think some of the things.
No, he does. No, yeah? Almost everything Tom Cruise does by himself. Check it out. He does almost all his own action shots.
I'm sure that he keeps a very healthy diet, and he did some surgery and lots of things.
Maybe it's the Scientology that keeps him young.
Yeah, Scientology or whatever. But the thing is that if you have money, I can tell you it's much easier to age well.
Yes.
This is a fact.
Yeah.
Because another thing is that you choose to go into drugs or do other things. That's another possibility. But with money, paying, I tell you, is easy.
I've got some more examples of people who have aged badly. Kelly McGillis, who was also in Top Gun with Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise. If you look at a photograph of Kelly McGillis, she's aged really badly. And Mickey Rourke.
Oh, Mickey Rourke, because, I know. Because he did lots of Botox also.
Yeah, but he looks terrible.
Yeah, the face looks very bloated, and very artificial, and he doesn't look too good.
What do you think of Julia Roberts? She's 52.
No,
Has
no,
she
but
aged well or has she aged badly?
no, she aged very well, because that's with a little bit of help. I think 52 only. I think she's a little bit older than that. I don't think this is too young.
Gemma thinks that Russell Crowe has aged badly. Yeah, he's got really fat, hasn't he, Russell Crowe? If you look at him in Gladiator, and he's aged badly, Russell Crowe. Mirta's asking, can we say he looks aged? Not really. No, that doesn't sound right to me. He looks old, or he's aged badly. You can say he looks his age, which means his appearance is very compatible with the age he has. So yeah, he looks 60. He looks 65. He looks his age, which can also be quite negative. If someone looks their age, that might not necessarily be a good thing. Thank you, Minia. She says, I've aged well. I don't feel like I've aged well, but thank you for the compliment. Oh, it's Rafa. I keep saying Minia because that comes first. Yeah. It's Rafa. Thank you, Rafa. I appreciate that.
So
one more, I think. Age before beauty. That's yours.
I don't really know what to say.
Age before beauty. This you'd use, for example, if you're going through a door and you want to make a joke, and you say, because English people are very polite, they might say, you first, after you. No, please, you. Go ahead. You can say age before beauty, which means the other person is older and not as attractive as you. So you're making a joke. It's very often used in a humorous, funny way. Age before beauty. You go first.
I don't know if I like it.
You have to use it in the right situation. And of course, you have to have a good relationship with the person you're making the joke with.
Yeah, that age before beauty. Yeah, because if you say it to an acquaintance who doesn't know you very well, it might be impolite to say this.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to have a good relationship with the person you're talking to, but it can be funny in the right context. Jose Ignacio saying that Trump has always aged badly or looked bad. Do we need to finish on Trump? Can we finish on a different subject, please?
Yeah.
Shall we quickly go back through the expressions one more time before we say goodbye?
Okay.
Just to recap and revise. So
you go, I'm not as young as I used to be. That's true, because I used to be much younger. Everybody is not as young as they used to be. So no ser tan joven como antes.
I can't go jogging on the beach anymore. I'm not as young as I used to be. Just turned 3, just turned 7. My sister's just turned 40. Just had a birthday, or recently had a birthday.
Acaba de cumplir 3. Underage is menor de edad, ser menor. To be underage, we use it with the verb to be. When Craig was underage,
he drank a lot of beer.
Yes, I was going to say that, like all the British people.
That's why I've aged badly. I used to drink a lot of beer.
Yes.
I'm in my late 50s, and Emil says in her early 80s, or no, mid 80s. Emil says in her mid 80s, so early, mid, and late.
Mental age. So this is edad mental, that you can have a mental age that is lower than your real age or biological age. No, and in some cases also very, very common in teenagers. The problem of different mental age from the real age. Okay.
It put years on him. My uncle worked on a construction site, and it put years on him. It was a very difficult job, and it made him older than his years. It put years on him.
I'm not over the hill yet, so meaning I'm not that old. So, for example, I'm not over the hill yet, so I can go trekking with Craig and my husband, and I won't have any problems. I don't know.
As long as we don't go over any hills.
Yeah. As long as it's flat. As long as it's flat.
That joke is as old as the hills. That's such an old joke. That song is as old as the hills. It's from the 1960s. It's a very old song.
To be in your prime. Okay, so if you retired at 50, you're still in your prime, meaning that you're young enough to do the things that you would like to do. Okay, to be in the best age to do many activities. For Craig, he always wants to mention sexual connotations about everything. So he made all these comments about being in the
it makes me feel younger.
Yeah.
At least I can talk about it. No, I can talk about it. That's something.
But I am not so fond of this kind of expressions. Okay, so.
Monica asked me before this afternoon to return the €200 that she'd lent me 2 years ago, but she didn't lend me any money and I wasn't going to be tricked. So I said, no, Monica, I wasn't born yesterday. You didn't lend me any money.
I'm trying to fool you, but I cannot because you weren't born yesterday. Yeah, I often have these senior moments when I forget things. And then I said, oh my God, I'm having a senior moment and I don't remember my co-host name. What is his name? Peter? Craig? I'm having a senior moment. Just had a senior moment.
My mum died when she was in her early 80s. She was 82, so she lived to a ripe old age. She had a long life.
Yes. And Craig is no spring chicken. So he knows how to tie his shoes.
I'm not getting any younger. I can feel my age, my years. I'm not getting any younger.
I am young at heart. I may seem a little bit old, but at heart, I'm always young. So.
And if someone's being very immature, you can say, grow up, act your age. Don't be so silly. Don't be so stupid. And if you feel your age, then you feel old. You feel that you're getting older. You feel your age. You're not young anymore.
You're as young as you feel. Eres tan joven como te sientes. So similar to young at heart, no? If you feel old, you feel old. If you feel young, oh.
And when you're getting on, then you can feel the years turning, the years going, the years disappearing. So how old is she? Well, she's no spring chicken. She's not young. She's getting on. She's getting on in years. She's not very young anymore.
Going through the change in life. We just learned with Craig that this is when women get their menopause, and they don't want to mention the word menopause because it's a bit of a taboo. So you say, I'm going through the change in life. So I'm having the problems with the hormones and all these flashes, hot flashes, and all kinds of bad things happen to you when you have a menopause.
And that's an awkward age or a difficult age. And also when you're a teenager and your hormones are going crazy, then that can be a difficult or awkward age when your body's changing as a teenager.
To age well or to age badly. Okay, some people age well because they take care of themselves or because of their genetic makeup. I don't know. And some people age badly because they drink too much, they eat too much, and then at the end they look much older than they really are. Okay, you have examples of both cases.
And if you want to make a joke when you want somebody to go before you can say age before beauty. But remember, you need to have a good relationship with the person. Otherwise, it could be a bit rude for the person if you don't know them well.
Okay, thank you very much. Some people are leaving also. Thank you. Oh, look, Gisela. I love you, Craig. You have fun. Okay, so.
Thank you, Gisela.
Yeah.
See you next week, Christine. See you next week, all of you. We will be back next week. Not with Monica, with Lynn. Monica, hopefully, will be back with us in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you very much for joining us and for spending time with us. Try and remember and practice these expressions. And next time you're writing an email or speaking in English, try and use one or two of these expressions in your conversation or your writing so that you remember them. So until next time, we'll say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.